the park to get the kumara. It tastes so good to me. I get the shovel and the spade.
Tēnā anō tātou, kei konei ahau, kei te taha, o tētahi o ngā kaitākaro no te tima toa. Arā, ko Taine Tuaupiki, tērā, kia ora brother, hei te pēhea.
Kei te pai, my bro, kei te pai.
Mean. Let's get straight into this. Little interview, little kōrero, little wānanga with the bro. So introduce yourself to the people, where you're from, who you are and what you do.
Kia ora, ko Taine Tuaupiki tōku ingoa, ko Pirungi a te maunga, Waikato te awa, Tainui te waka, Kawhia te moana, Ngāti Mauta tōku hapu, Tainui tōku iwi. Kia ora, my name's Taine Tuaupiki, rugby league player at the One New Zealand Warriors, 23 years old, just a bit of a rookie, old rookie you could say. Been a rugby league head, currently just moved over from the Gold Coast about 6 months ago and just been loving my life over here back home ever since.
Nah, mean bro. So talk to us a little bit about your journey into the rugby league world, why you started, how you started, and what's kept you going up until this point in your life.
Why I started was obviously watching the brother and older cousins play. I played for Ngaruaia Panthers down in Hopi there when I was 4 years old, and stayed there till I was 9, and then had the opportunity to move over to Aussie. I was saying to the bro before, I wasn't to chase the rugby league dream, but it was to see the old man a bit more who was working in the mines. I was only seeing him probably once every 3 months, 2 months, but we got the opportunity to see him once a month, and I was just lucky that the rugby league opportunities over in Oz are pretty good.
Yeah.
And so just going over there, stayed at it, was passionate, just as passionate now as I was back then about my rugby league, and kept playing it. Thought I was pretty mean growing up, but brothers, I wasn't.
Yeah.
Like talking to the bros about it now, how I've played NRL, still pretty buzzy because 8 years ago, not a chance you're picking me.
Yeah.
Like if you had to look at our team when I was in under 13s or even under 17s, bro, like I'm probably like 10th ranked. Like no one thought I was going to play NRL, so pretty blessed to have done that. But yeah, was playing for a club called Runaway Bay Seagulls over there. Then got picked up through the Titans system when I was 14. And was in that till when I was under 20s, and then back into it last year, and then now the journey's brought me all the way here back home under the Warriors.
Yeah, mean. So interesting that the move to Australia wasn't for footy, because for a lot of our whānau Māori or that are male and female nowadays, majority of the time it is the reason why they moved to Australia, to chase the footy dream. So yeah, really interesting point there. And when you got to Australia, I should ask, when you arrived as a family, was your thoughts at the time to chase this footy dream? Like, were you arrived there and you're like, damn, I'm here now, all these opportunities are here, I need to go for it 100%?
Nah. No way. It wasn't until wasn't up until I remember being 12 years old, finishing primary school, and went to Kura Kaupapa Bernard Ferguson down there in Ngaruaia. I think they made the regionals or something for Kapahaka, and they placed, and I was pretty jealous to see my cousins up there on stage, just hearing them how fluent they were in their reo, and how much mine was pretty shocking. I was pretty jealous of that, and I remember having a little sulk to the old lady, and saying that I wanted to move home to get back on my real journey, and that's when the old lady sort of hit me with the, well, you can move home and go live with your auntie and uncle, or like they could move home with me, or you could stay here. We stay here and you chase the dream of playing rugby league, because Mum sort of knew that if I was going to move home, like I wasn't anything special, and to probably make it over here, you got to be something special because it's a little bit harder. And so she hit me with that, and that's took me about 2 days of sooking, and then I told her that I wanted to chase the dream to play NRL, and so we sort of just stayed with that and stuck it out over there. So
Yeah, for sure. And so that's definitely not an easy decision to make, because you're going from comfort, because there's a different type of comfort in being in the place where you're actually from and where your whole whakapapa is from. There's a different type of comfort in that. So, or without a doubt in my mind, it was probably a hard decision. I know you're young, but what was the thought process behind that?
I'm not too sure, bro. I just remember being I'm a proud Māori boy, and like I just missed I missed the lifestyle over here, and like watching my cousins. Most of them were speak reo, and watching the lifestyle that they're living, or living on horses or on the motorbikes out on the farm. And it was a tough decision to make at a young age. Honestly, the only thing I really remember from making that decision is me crying for about 2 days in my bedroom. But I'm grateful for the path that I took, and like I said before, can't have the best of both worlds.
Exactly. You can't have the best of both worlds, and without a doubt, it will come full circle, and you will get that other side of life later on down the track, maybe when your footy career's done. And jumping back to footy, talk to me a little bit about Gold Coast. Obviously, you talked about being in their system from 14 all the way up until just a couple years ago. How's the system there? What did you learn? And what's your biggest takeaways from that experience?
Bro, the system there is pretty mean. I remember when I was coming through, they weren't too good, like the system there, and Broncos was the big dogs. So like all of the good players my age all got picked up from Bronx, and it was sort of the leftovers that stayed at the Titans. And it's definitely grown since then, because obviously Broncos were the team they were, and Titans haven't established themselves to be one of the good teams, because they obviously had a pretty poor year last year. But I don't know, I think there's something like cool about playing at the Titans. Like I don't know what it is. A lot of teams, even when the Titans are losing, and say like Newcastle Knights are losing, for some reason the boys, like, it's seen like pretty cool to play at the Titans.
For sure.
And I definitely think the lifestyle comes with that. Like I've said to a lot of the boys, the lifestyle over there is pretty mean, but what's not so good about it is the lifestyle being that good that you get carried away with it. And I was definitely one of those boys that enjoyed their life outside of footy a lot too much. And I took advantage of how good the lifestyle was over there, with, like I said, packing my jeans before my boots, doing all of the stuff that naughty boys do. Bro, I was a bad boy, like, considering like rugby league players, like saying, I was telling people I wanted to make it, but my actions were doing other things, bro. So probably wasn't until like 2021 when things changed for me and started heading up. But it would probably be the lifestyle over there that's mean, bro.
And so without a doubt, in Gold Coast you got your beaches, your clubs, all of that. Like you said before as well, it's a very aesthetically based kind of lifestyle. It's all about how good you look, and all that kind of stuff when you're over there. So as you said as well, it turned around for you in about 2021. What was that? What made you hit that switch inside of your brain to turn it on and turn the main focus to rugby league?
It was more, I was playing with Jaden Campbell, who's at the Titans, and he was my fullback and I was the halfback. But bro, I always had a dream. Like, I always knew I wanted to play fullback. Even under 14s going up, I wanted to play fullback. But because my voice is probably one of my strengths, and I lacked size on the kick returns. So I always just got chucked in the halves.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until JC got picked up from the Titans, and then I got the opportunity to play fullback, and then bro, I just went on like some nice runs and took out a few awards in that local competition, and then got blessed with a Titans preseason.
Yeah.
With a training trial, and then done that out, bro, enjoyed it, and it was honestly at the end of the preseason I sort of said to myself like, oh, this is what I want to do with my life. And then nailed down that season last year in the Q Cup competition. And then sort of just from there, bro, slowly building, confidence started building, like things started falling my way, and I got a mental coach actually.
Oh, wow.
I had a mental coach last year who barely provided. I didn't ask for it. He just like right place, right time. And it was pretty buzzy actually. He probably around about a year ago now, around 6 onwards, he wanted to have a little trial to see if he could get a Q Cup player, like if he could make a Q Cup player think that he's an NRL player. Yeah. Just with little mental tricks, and I was his guinea pig. Me and one of the other boys were sort of his guinea pigs, but the other boys he was a little bit older. He was comfortable. He just sort of wanted, in the Q Cup competition, he sort of just wanted to get his game to a higher level. But I knew that I wanted to take mine to an NRL level, and he helped me do that. And just by him saying that at the beginning of the year that he wanted to turn me into an NRL player, it was pretty surreal that I played NRL now, and how quick it changed in just literally 12 months, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy. Mental coach as well. That's the first. I'm sure, like, in my head, I knew the bigger up there athletes had these kind of people to talk to, like your mental coaches and therapists and stuff, because it is a side that is forgotten about sport, is the mental side of it. And how influential was it? Talk to us a little bit about what those kind of things look like what those kind of sessions look like with the mental coach. You don't have to go into too much detail because it's personal, but
they are pretty personal, those sessions. What was sort of cool, what he broke it down to, he could like mind read a lot too. Yeah. And I think that's what he knew. He had to do something to sort of make us fully believe in him. Yeah. And like he would have us meditating, and then he would try and get us to think of a happy place, me and my bro. And he could think, like he knew exactly what I was thinking. Like I wouldn't say it, I'd just have my eyes closed. And a happy place for me would be, like at the time it was riding my horse. Yeah. And bro, like that's when I believe I'm at one of my happiest, like outside of rugby league. Yeah. And he said it to me as soon as my eyes opened. He told me in the very, and he got hit the Rose one right as well. And then just from there onwards, he had us hooked, and he would just have us like breaking us down into what truly drove us. Yeah. And so he was really good, but you did have to open up to him, and I don't know, he just installed little things, little beliefs in myself that I honestly believed I was an NRL player round 5 last year playing Q Cup. And bro, I was 23 years old, like 4 Q Cup games next to my name. Like, who's a 24-year-old saying, like, how can you say you're an NRL player when you got nothing to your name? And I don't know, he helped me so much, and to have the year that I had last year in the Q Cup comp, and to be where I am right now, it's like a full 360 moment, and it's pretty cool. I did tell him when I won an award last year, I gave him probably my biggest praise when I got that award, so it was pretty mean.
Yeah, that's unreal. That's cool. There was a cool little kaupapa to talk about, because that's the first I've heard about these things and actually heard what they do and how they help you. So that's awesome. And heading back to GC, obviously you had your training trial deal. And then I believe I was reading somewhere that post your training trial with them, they didn't give you an NRL contract. Is that correct?
Yeah. Sort of when, no shade at the Titans, bro. They got some mean fullbacks there.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I fully understood where they came from, and like I got respect for them and heaps of love for all the boys there. They got that young Keanu Kinney who's from
tough.
here. And funny story, Huey Holloway, the bro, actually told me about 12 months ago after I finished that pre-season, he just told me to enjoy it because we got a young boy over there from the North Shore who's gonna kick you out. And bro, it's what happened. I sort of got told from Holbrook, some rankings came out last year, round 9, and they told me if I could have a good season that they'd sign me.
Yeah.
And round 9 last year or round 12, something like that, they just released like their votes, like a Dally M voting, and I was leading it by a bit, and so we sort of just like went to them and said, I'm like obviously going all right, like can I get it, like am I looking like I'm gonna get something or no? And he just said, oh bro, we got he didn't say oh bro, but he was like we got a young fullback here, Keanu Kinney, and we got Jaden Campbell obviously and AJ Brimson, so like no matter how good you go, we just won't be able to sign you, and I understood that.
Yeah, for sure.
So as soon as that happened, I was still going in, like doing the 1 day a week with them, helping them out. But as soon as that happened, I sort of just burnt bridges with them and sort of just moved towards the next goal. And like myself and my manager and my family just started reaching out, seeing if any other club wanted to take me on. And Warriors were actually probably the first to come at me, and it was... honestly, as soon as they called, I knew it was time to come home.
Yeah, so following on your the year when Gold Coast didn't offer you a contract for, was it 2022?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, last year, 2022. Then you had your Queensland Cup year last year, correct?
Yeah.
And you won MVP of the league. How was that? Talk to me about that, because that's crazy. To win MVP of, especially... the level of play at Queensland Cup is highly underrated and not appreciated enough. It's very high level footy. So to get an award like that prestigious, best in the league. Talk to us about how you felt in those times.
Bro, it was pretty buzzy. I wanted to win. I had my mindset. I actually wrote that down. My first session with that mindset coach.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know if I was going to be the fullback for Burleigh at the time. Like, we had a Curtis Rowe there who won fullback of the Q Cup competition ever. Like he was the current fullback at Burleigh, and the mental coach sat a few of us boys down, and he told everyone to write down their one goal. And I wrote down the goal to win MVP of the competition, and when like we had to go around the circle and say it, I didn't say it, bro. I just said I didn't understand it, and I said, to make the grand final. Because I was a bit embarrassed. Like I didn't want everyone to think like, and they would have thought it. Like, bro, you've played 20 minutes of Q Cup. How do you think you're gonna win the MVP? And so I wrote that down. And when I was when I got an invitation to go to the awards, I was buzzing out, and there were some gun fullbacks in that competition, bro, and I was sort of just like, I was pretty nervous when I seen that I was the only fullback at the awards night. That sort of went, I think I'm going to win the fullback of the year. And then because I tore my quad in the week before that against Redcliffe in a semi-final, and bro, I was meant to be in crutches for like 3 weeks, but I didn't. I didn't wear my crutches to those awards because I didn't want to let them know that they got one up, because even they knocked me out, and knowing that if they knew that they injured me for real, then they would have got 2 up on me, and I didn't like that. So I didn't use my crutches. I was hobbling around everywhere, and then I won that fullback of the year. And then when I was out the back, they were all, the people running the awards were like, "Are you alright to be walking?" And I was like, because I was obviously walking pretty bad, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll be sweet. And then the lady sort of said, she threw out a little joke saying, because you're going to do some Ks tonight. And then that's when I was like, I could be a chance here, which I didn't think I was going to, where like quietly probably I did, but I don't know, you don't like to say it.
For sure.
And then then the next award was the Rookie of the Year award, and I didn't even know I was up for that because I played 20 minutes last year, and I thought that was over, but apparently it's like 4 or 5 games, and then I ended up going around the back for that, and then there was just heaps of chat from all the boys, like just throwing heaps of banter at me, and then when I got called out to win that, to win the Player of the Year award, it was I was buzzing, like. I don't know, I almost slipped when I was saying my speech. I sort of forgot that how important that award was. I was about to like mention, because bro, I love getting on I love a beer.
Yeah, 100%.
And I was about to say some like cheeky remarks to like me getting on the piss, saying that like, if I said something like, if you told me I was gonna win this award 6 months ago, I would have slapped you, and I was gonna say, I would have slapped you and keep sinking my piss. But I realised I seen Billy Slater sitting right in front of me, and that made me realise that this is actually pretty massive. But it was sort of weird, bro. My mindset coach helped a lot with this, and like as much as how grateful I was to win that award, it sort of just went straight in the back of my mind, because I knew that I had bigger things in plan. Like I was coming over here on a training trial, and I wanted to get a top 30 and then get a debut. That was on my mind straight away. So I don't know, I was like truly grateful to win that award, but I was sort of at the time just probably past it already.
Yeah.
And looking back at it, I probably wish I lived in the moment a little bit. And my missus, she pushes that for me to like stay in the moment, stop looking forward, and so that is probably one thing that I wish I did do more, just stay in that moment.
Yeah, because like you said, it's very prestigious, and when you've got company like that, Billy Slaters of the world and this whole league community, and you're the one winning the award, it must have felt pretty surreal, bro.
Yeah, bro. Like, I don't know. I look at photos right now, and I got a photo of Petro Sivanasiva after the. Bro, he's tall, bro.
Yeah, big
he's
fella.
like, brothers. I'm up to his. Bro, I'm down here on him, hey, and he was having a little laugh, saying that he goes, "How'd you win this, bro?" We're actually having a laugh, and. Bro, that was like surreal seeing those fellas at that awards night.
Yeah, for sure. And then jumping back here to home, Aotearoa, when did you get the call? When did you get the call from the head officers over here to say you're going to come, and ultimately why did you finally make the decision to come back home?
Bro, Webby, the head coach now, Andrew Webster, he actually... I wouldn't call it sneaky, but it is a little bit. He went past my manager and just called me straight away.
Yeah.
But I think you can, because he didn't chat like contract negotiations. He just wanted to have a chat and like get to know me. And then when he called, bro, I was at the time I had some other deals that I was like pretty convinced I was gonna take.
Yeah.
But as soon as Webby called, bro, I've always wanted to move back home.
Yeah.
And like with being with my missus, I didn't really see how an opportunity could pop up to move back home, where like obviously like the Mihi and everything over there is just a little bit easier than what it is over here. And so when that popped up, I was quietly like hoping no one offered me a mean deal, just quietly, because then my manager would slap me if, like I said, I wanted to take the training trial with Warriors. So although I did get offered some decent deals, I knew as soon as Warriors called, bro, I knew I was taking it no matter what. For sure.
And can you talk about other teams who offered you?
I think not, eh?
Yeah, that's all good. I guess being this is your home and this is where you came from, that must have been the biggest factor, was it not?
Yeah, bro. Just being able to see my nan and papa, and my other nan and all my aunties and uncles, like being able to see them as much as I want. Like I went from seeing my nan and papa once a year to every 2-3 weeks, and that was a big thing. And like I've always been jealous of the hunting lifestyle that all my cousins all live, and just being able to go down there with my freezers a bit empty, just give one of my cousins a message and we head out and we just go for a hunt and go fill up the freezer. Like that lifestyle I was always jealous of, so as soon as the opportunity came to do it, bro, I jumped at it straight away.
For sure. And then looking at your moving forward, just to a couple of weeks ago, your debut. I was like, oh, shit. Aroha wai te whānau. Technical difficulty anō. Tēnei kāmera, kaitākaro te rikota mo te wāroa. No reira, kua tīmata anō. We're back. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties, but last time it all happened. We're back into it.
Yes, bro. My debut was mean. When Webby called out my name, like I was saying, a lot of the boys were tapping me on the shoulders. They were like, bro, you're on. And I honestly didn't think I was going to be. And then Webby did say, he goes, the team list is going to be the exact same this week. And in my head I was thinking, what about Chance? But at the end of the meeting, I noticed all of the media people come running into the room with their cameras. But I also knew it was Tohu's 200th game.
Oh, yes, I see.
And where he sits in the room, bro, is like right next to the media people. And then like Webby just looked at them and said, "He's ready?" And then they were like, "Yeah." And then I was like looking, and then Webby looked at me, and then the media people looked at me. And then straight away, bro, I just was like, no. And then when he announced it, bro, I was shaking. Took a solid 10 seconds to regroup myself because I don't want to be one of those guys that tear up.
Yeah.
And I knew the boys would have, as much as they would have loved it, they would have given it to me a bit.
Yeah,
I reckon.
for sure.
And then, when that happened, bro, it was mean. I actually, first thing I done, went home and deactivated my Facebook.
Oi.
Just all the messages that I knew were about to come, I knew that messages were just about to be crazy. So I went home and done that. Got to tell the olds, which was a special moment.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the old lady tearing up. The old man struggles to speak a bit when it comes to that stuff. But he was pretty proud as well, like he was saying. And the week in itself, bro, was mean. Yeah. Didn't drag on too long, and it didn't feel like it went fast. It, bro, honestly, was just perfect.
Yeah, that's good.
And just being able to share the week with Tohu in his 200th game.
Yeah, that's special.
Like a player like that, bro, he's the man. Brothers,
he's, I can imagine. He shows it on the field. Like,
he's so mean, and so smart, bro. And just to be able to, like, the way that the boys talk about him is like, you could only dream for people to talk about you the way that everyone talks about him, bro. And to share my debut game with his 200th game, and it just shows to him, bro, like whenever we would talk as a group, and anything would pop up with Tohu's 200th, he would just point it straight to me and just say, it's Taine's debut this week, boys, not my 200th. It's another game for me, bro. Remember, for someone to like always just point it back to me, bro, was in a special week for himself. Yeah. Like it was pretty special in itself for me, and bro, just on the game and everything, it was everything I thought it was going to be, Like, how loud it was, I enjoyed it, bro. I actually was having fun. Like, when I could hear some of the crowd giving it to me, like there was a moment when I was cramping up out the back. Yeah. And I just heard someone from the crowd say, "Oh, you're not at Burley now, are you?" Bro, I just started, bro, midfield, bro, 60 minutes into the game, and I just started cracking up, Like, it was mean, and just having, to be able to debut with, like, Sean as one of the halves. That's crazy. And the Kazi Timaire is the other half. Like, I was chatting with Huey, actually, like, after the game. I probably, if you had to ask me which halves in the NRL would you want to debut with, like, I'm picking those two. So to be able to get them, like, it was mean. To have someone that you looked up to as a kid, and to have someone that's whānau, that's from Tāroa, same little town as me, it's bro, it was surreal, eh? Yeah, that's a crazy experience, and to do it, to rub shoulders like with Tohu in a big week like that, because 200 games is not to be taken lightly at all. It's an amazing accomplishment. And on your debut, so you talked about the fan getting into it, all that stick talk from in the game, and how much fun you had. Talk to me now about your, like, welcome to the NRL moment. Like, could have been a big hit, your first run, whatever, the crowd being loud. Talk to us about your welcome to the NRL moment. There was two moments. One was Shawnee gave me my "this is my moment" speech before we ran out. Like, he pulled me to the side He told me everything that like he thinks I'm good at, like what's good about my game. So he just like narrowed the focus down for me. And when I realised, because you hear about these speeches, like people like for your debut, they always get pulled aside from that one player. And when Shawnee done it to me, bro, I was like, fuck, I'm getting a speech. I'm getting it from Sean. But that's all I was thinking.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I was just thinking, bro, this is Sean Johnson giving this to me. And that was mean. But the moment, bro, was not lucky. It's actually a pretty bad moment for the bro. But when Wade Egan got knocked out. Play the 5 seconds before that was Jason Taumalolo hit me with the right foot ankle breaker.
Oh, heck.
Bro, and when that happened, I was like, no. Like, when you see Taumalolo 10 metres out from the line, like, I'm trying to think what he's thinking, and I'm thinking he's like, oh, here's a bloody 80-kilo fullback. I'm bowling him over. Yeah. So there I am, bro. I set my feet way too early, like, just steer myself up, saying, bro, I gotta throw everything into this.
Yeah.
And then, like, with my left shoulder too, my bro, I can only tell I'm rubbish at tackling as it is, and I'm a right shoulder guy, so my left shoulder too. So I just set my heels early as went to go launch, and the bro just hit me with the right foot, and just proper ankle broke me, bro.
Yeah.
And then ran into Wade Egan's head, and then that was my moment, bro. That was when I was like, holy, like they're built different.
Yeah.
And I got a bit lucky that all everyone really remembers from that play is Wade's head knock.
Yeah.
Because if Wade didn't get that head knock, bro, everyone would have clipped that ankle breaker. Oh,
yeah, for sure.
Bro.
Followed up by an incident like that. That's crazy though, because when I see Taumalolo on the screen, man, he moves quick, but he's huge.
Bro, he's massive, and I could feel how strong I had a run at him, because I wanted to feel how strong he was when you run at him, and I didn't run. I said I was going to do that, but when I ended up running at him, it wasn't on purpose, because I got my first couple of runs, bro, and I ran away from him. And then there was another run, that the one that I ended up getting at him was honestly an accident. I just had no option. Yeah. But I got to feel his strength, and bro, he's strong.
Yeah.
And for someone that strong to have feet like that, bro,
that's lethal.
It's a dangerous combo.
That's lethal. And obviously, in your debut, you boys managed to get the win over a top tier Cowboys side. I had them being top 4 this year in my preseason predictions. What does it feel like to beat a team like that? Because it's when you're on the sideline and your boys go out there and do it, it must be a very different feeling to when you're actually out there and playing and influencing heavily on the game. What does it feel like to win a big game like that?
Bro, it was mean. I actually spoke to one of the boys, Ronnie Volkman. He got the debut against the Panthers. Yeah. And that's a G up, bro.
Yeah, that's hectic.
But, like, talking to him about it, you wouldn't want to debut against anyone else. Like, at least he knows that that's the competition benchmark, where I've known some other boys that have debuted against some teams that are probably at the bottom end of that ladder. Yeah. And they got a bit of a rude awakening when they versed one of the top 4 teams.
Yeah.
And so to be able to get that out of the way straight away, without having to like realize 3 games later what the NRL benchmark is. Yeah. To get that in my first game was, although I was probably more nervous for it than I could have been if it was another team, but nah, bro, it was mean. Like, to verse Valentine Holmes.
Yeah, that's mean.
Chad Townsend, Tom, bro, all those names. There's some world-class names, bro. So to be able to verse them and have verse the top 4 team, bro, it was gun.
Yeah, unreal. And last week, got out on the pitch again. And this week, I've seen you've been named in the team list. How does it feel now that you've settled and you've had your debut, been in the system for a decent amount of time now, a couple of months now? Looking into games now that you've debuted and all that, like, excitement is not gone down, but, you know, nothing compares to a debut. What's the feeling like going into these next few games when you're starting to get selected more consistently?
Yeah, probably I was actually pretty happy with the Knights game, even though I only got like 15 minutes or whatever it was. My mindset on the field was, I was actually, like, as soon as I finished, I was pretty, not proud of myself, but just happy with the way I handled that.
Yeah.
Because obviously, the first game, you just get through purely on adrenaline.
Yeah, for sure.
But the next game, I'm sitting on the bench there for 60 minutes, like adrenaline's long gone.
Yeah.
The game's already found its pace, so it's up, like I got to go out there and find my own pace. And I was pretty happy with like just when some high balls started coming my way. I don't know, it honestly felt like another game.
Yeah.
Which which you wanted to do, but you're nervous to whether it will be like that or not. Because while playing the game, bro, like when things were happening out there, I wasn't nervous for it at all, and it just sort of just clicked back into my own process, what I do. Like no difference from New South Wales Cup game, Queensland Cup game. I still just my process still stayed the same, and I was pretty like one thing that came away from that game, even though we lost, was I was pretty happy with that mindset that I came out with. For
sure. And being in this Warriors system for a long time, what's your biggest takeaway from? I forget. Is it Andrew Webster, the coach? Yeah. What's your biggest takeaway from him coming from? We're talking about the benchmark of the NRL, coming from the Panthers system. What kind of lessons in the rugby league world has he taught you?
Bro, like, I couldn't explain him enough, bro. Like, you'd have to have a video camera there watching him, bro. He's so smart.
Yeah.
He's honestly, he rattled a few boys when they first came in because of just the way he views the game's just completely different, bro.
Yeah.
And I thought I already knew the game, and it was just on how I can get better at the things that I knew. But bro, he's got me viewing the game way different, and just hearing from a lot of boys that have been in a lot of different systems. Not all systems are like that, and Webby's definitely one of the smarter NRL coaches that a lot of the boys have come across. So to have that as my first NRL coach is pretty mean. And, bro, I don't know exactly, like, there's that many things, bro, but he's instilled being a better bloke rather than a better rugby player.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, he has moments where, like, I've obviously had moments, a lot of the boys have had moments where they could probably do things that would help their footy, but it's not necessarily the best thing to do at the time as a person. Yeah. And we got this little quote where we always pull each other up from it. It's like, are you living below the line or above the line? And he always wants us to be above the line. Yeah. And it's a cool little quote that we have saying around at training. So if you ever like we have a laugh with it, but some of the boys do get serious with it. If you feel like someone's dragging their feet a little bit, like a perfect situation was Dallin Watene-Zelezniak playing New South Wales Cup last week. Kiwi captain, like probably our best outside back, if not like one of the best.
Definitely the best Kiwis winger.
Before he got injured, like he was our best back all preseason, and for like Webby just to have that conversation with him to say, like, we want to play with you, or we want to play you in New South Wales Cup. Bro, Dallin was above the line all week, bro. He loved it. He taught all of the young boys, bro. He honestly he was just out there teaching everyone everything. I don't know if you watched the game, bro, but 4 tries.
Yeah, I saw the stats. I don't watch it, but 4 tries.
Bro, and I watched the second half and clinic from the bro. He was untouchable, and even the way he carried himself after the game, a lot of the boys took a lot to learn from him, and even just the way he trained that week when he was training with we call the Renegades, the second team. Yeah. The way he was training, bro, is honestly like changed my mindset to training, because like just the bomb went up, and we have a little thing that no one said. We just do it right away for the defenders. Yeah. So just to stop injuries. So 2-3 people going up for the ball. Yeah. And then when Dal came into training, no right away, compete. Yeah, he's in there. And I hit him up for it, and then he just said, he goes, bro, if I'm in the second team, I'm competing on everything. Love it. And that was one thing that I just took from the bro. Like, don't sit back, just go get everything. Like, even though we are in the second team, just keep working to try and be in that first team. And if we all do that as a whole, bro, we could be a good side this year. Like, we're striving to be, but still early, but if we all have that same mindset, bro, we could be something great.
For sure, and it does look like, from a fan's point of view, there's a new wairua about this team, about this Warriors team. There is a bit more mana and control on the pitch. The halves have stepped up. Shawnee J looks like vintage Shawnee J, but in a different way. Like, he's playing much different, but he's at that same level of form as he was. And just from a fan's perspective, it's good to see the boys playing with a lot of pride. I feel like that's the main thing that I've seen as a fan, is the pride and the mana, and everything looks purposeful out on the pitch.
Bro, and I just point that all towards Webby,
Yeah.
the coach, bro. We had a tough preseason, and he said from the beginning, he's gonna say we're a grand final winning team, but what he wants to do is he won't say we're a grand final winning team. He wants us to believe we are, and he wants us to. He thinks the only way to believe it, which is probably the only way, is doing the mahi and learning along the way. And slowly you could see like a lot more, like Shawnee, bro, confidence. Sean Johnson with confidence is the best player in the NRL, bro.
Yeah,
and
100%.
right now he's got all that confidence, and I don't know if that's all because of Webby, because I didn't know the bro before, but I definitely know from hearing from a lot of other people, Webby's the reason why they think they're going so well at the moment. Just the way that, I don't know, he just sort of has us all. No one's pointing fingers. No one's doing this. The one. Bro, like we got like 10 computers, and after every training, everyone's fighting over a computer to rewatch that one training. Like, we were sitting back 40 minutes after the training, just like rewatching it, seeing where we can all get better, and then going out to the coaches like with our own little clips. And that was something that's not very common. And I think that was common at Panthers, which is why it shows why they're the next level above.
Yeah, exactly.
And for him to bring that here, like, I can already see the instant improvements from all the brothers. Yeah,
for sure. And that computer stuff is crazy, because that's when you actually do when you're starting to nitpick those minor details. I can imagine that is what.
Bro, and it is nitpicking. Like,
pre-season,
bro, the coaches are pulling us up for stuff that's like.
Give an example. What's an example?
Just little... Oh, bro, it's so hard to explain. Just little things like if someone's running at your inside, not putting him right on your shoulder, like standing, just reading the pass.
Yeah.
So if they hit short, you move in and you make that tackle strong. If they hit out the back, you move to that, rather than... he's running a mean line and you're waiting, like you're just sitting on him because he runs a mean line.
Yeah, I see.
Rather than you just stay in your one spot and you read him, you read the back door, but most importantly, you read the pass.
Yeah.
Use you running, like standing in front of this guy that's running a mean line when you can see the ball's already going out the back.
Yes, I see.
It's all just reading the pass, bro. And like, I don't know if like people watch it too much, but one thing we want to like focus on is just seeing the ball for the whole 80. As soon as the ball gets kicked in the air, rather than our big boys putting their head down and like saying to the outside backs, take the next 3-4 carries. As soon as the ball is getting kicked, they're moving. And you see, if you paused it, like you see all of the boys, everyone's heads in the sky, looking at the ball, and just moving towards it.
Yeah.
And that's something that that we've smashed down on in pre-season, and so that'd be like a little example.
Yeah, very, very meticulous and very, very exact kind of training.
He's like that, bro.
Yeah.
Like, Webby is, he's all about effort, and he's about efficiency, being smart, so putting your effort into smart things.
Yeah, for sure. And to finish off the Warriors talk, 3 questions. Who's the hardest worker, biggest pest, and the one you're closest with in the team?
Hardest worker, bro. There's a lot of hard workers.
Yeah.
Bro, everyone works hard in different ways. Like someone like Marcelo Montoya and Chance. So they work hard off the field. Like video, they were doing so many hours of video. Stretching, they're always first to stretch, last to leave. Someone on the field, Mitch Barnett.
Yeah,
bro,
the big boy.
He's a dog, bro.
Yeah, he looks like it, bro.
He's a dog, bro. He's sort of instilled that hard work during this preseason. The boys just like, he competes, bro. Like, just for example, last training, we had a fit, because I only played 20 minutes, so I had to do a top up.
Yeah.
That was 2 days ago. We done the full fitness session, and then the bro puts his hand up and asks if he can do a bronco at the end of training, and runs a 5:03 after fitness, bro. So he's hardest worker. Pest, bro. We got a few pests. Freddie Lussick, Jazz Tavanga, Ron Volkman. He's a pest, bro. Probably out of those three. Closest to probably Ronnie Volkman, Ali Leitawa. He's a development boy. Probably Freddie. I'm close with a few of the bros, but Ronnie and Ali probably who I hang out with most outside of training.
Yeah, for sure. And then carrying on to our last set of questions, little bit more focused towards your taha Māori and your experience in that world, and what are your kind of future goals for that world. So obviously you talked about earlier, you went to Bernard Ferguson, the Kura Kaupapa Māori in Kiriroa, down Waikato ways. Is that the only involvement you've had in your ao Māori?
Pretty much, bro. Like I was telling you before we started this, didn't speak too much Māori over in Oz.
Yeah.
And as much as I wanted to, I've always wanted to like reconnect with my journey, but just didn't really have probably there was opportunities, bro, but it's just up to whether I took them or not.
Yeah.
And I probably wasn't looking at taking them while I was being over in Aussie, but since being here, it's definitely something that I'm going to definitely go towards.
Yeah, for sure. And although that was your main exposure to your ao Māori was being in Bernard Ferguson, in that Kura Kaupapa, what has your Māoritanga, you being Māori, your Māori identity, done for you in the context of football, and especially in this stage of your football, in this professional life? What has your identity of being Māori helped you throughout this journey?
Probably not so much while being over in Aussie, because a lot of the Māori boys over there touch players.
Yeah.
And I was a touch player myself, and a lot of the boys you're seen as the pretty boy Māori boys. And so probably didn't have too much. That's probably all I had while being over in Aussie. But since being back home, I can feel it massively. Just like little things, like I was saying, like Māori television, they're very interested in me. Bloody, just how much I can see in the Warriors fans, they love having another Māori boy in the team. Like nothing too much with like rugby league, but like outside in, probably like I'm getting a lot more benefits, I'd say, being a Māori.
Yeah, for sure. And looking further down the track, what is your ultimate goal for your ao Māori? And I know there's no like achievement, like there's no sort of level you can get to in your ao Māori. It's all up to the person, and it's a never-ending journey. But what are some of your future goals for you and your ao Māori?
Bro, honestly, like I'd want, like, obviously I've said a couple of times I want to get back down my journey. A big thing for me would be my kids not to lose that. Like my partner, she's Māori, but she's probably pretty disconnected to her whakapapa and everything, and I wouldn't want my kids to lose that while being, I don't know, I'd love to live here. And I've told my partner I want my kids to go to a kura kaupapa, whether it's back down home or it's up here, just wherever it is. But I just sort of always been one to believe in you are where you whakapapa from, not you are where you're living.
For sure.
And that's why everyone, when they say, oh, you're from Gold Coast, I say, no, I'm from Taha out the West Coast, the Hamilton. And well, they say, well, you lived in Gold Coast for 13 years, but I'm like, bro, but I whakapapa from out there, my cousins, my whānau, all from out there. And a goal for me would honestly be for my kids to know that.
Yeah.
So my kids know who their great-great-grandfather is, who all their auntie and uncles are. Like, for something that I've probably disconnected to a bit since being over in Oz.
Yeah.
But I'm reconnecting now, and that would probably be the biggest goal for me, for my kids to not lose what I think so beautiful about our culture.
For sure. And a great goal, because a lot of the time, when I ask this question to other people, it is always the first thing is to learn the reo and have all this. Yeah. But with your outlook on it and your goal, is you want your kids to know their great-great-great-grandfather, and you want them to know their whakapapa line. It's a really interesting take, and it really is what being Māori is about, is knowing where you came from and knowing that whole whakapapa line down to a T.
Yeah, like it's beautiful, bro. And it's like you sort of don't understand, like just something as little as this is like people say there's like similarities between like me and Te Māori, and they say that before we even realise we whakapapa from the same place, and just little things like that is like sort of shows like who you are and why you are like what you are.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's something that I think is like mean, and I do want my kids to know.
Yeah, for sure. And just to finish up, last little question. If you had anything to tell young, aspiring Māori in the sports world, whether that is rugby league, rugby union, basketball, whatever, if you could speak to Māori children specifically and how they should carry themselves, or any kind of, kōrero for them in their development, what would you say to them?
I'd just probably say stay proud.
Yeah.
Like being over in Aussie, I did get seen as one of the, like I got it a lot, bro, from even some of my bros. You're a different Kiwi, you're a different Māori boy. And I always took offence to that. I was like, what do you mean? And then they're like, oh, I don't know, you're just different. Yeah. And when I broke them down, because I would take offence to it, and I would once they said it, I'd break it down, and I realised that they're saying, I'm a cleaner, I'm a well-spoken, all those little things, and that honestly, bro, like annoyed me, because I was just the same as all the rest of the bros, but because of where I was living, the opportunities that I got, they were different. Some people that may not have as much money as like my parents were blessed to have, like for them to say that was pretty ignorant. And I don't know, I'll just say just stay proud, like whatever sport you're doing, however high you go, I'd just say stay proud with it.
For sure. That's about it for us today. Tried to keep it short and sweet, a little bit longer. But thanks again, brother, for coming on.
Shakas.
It's been a mean one. Ko tātou te rā, koe nei te mutunga o tēnei kiriata. He uiui, kia Taine Tuaupiki, ko te manako, kua whai hua, koutou katoa, mai ēnei kōrero, mai ēnei wānanga. Nō reira, tēnā koutou katoa. Kia ora.